Hello everybody. So I felt very called to do a video on expectations, boundaries, all of the things that I have definitely not been the best at in the past. And now that I have been doing quite a bit of healing, I have a lot of good tips for you guys. So I'm going to start off with a pretty amazing story. When I was younger, there was somebody that I was interested in. He was interested in me. We were dating, and we were both extremely independent. And I know I was very ego-driven, so I like to brag about how I don't need constant communication. I would brag about how I'm not a typical woman. I don't need nurturing. I don't need all of those things. But you know, obviously my points of view have changed quite a bit because we all need nurturing on one level or another. So it's funny because we had tried dating a few times in the past, and I needed a lot more communication from that person, and I never got it. And coming from the ego, I just never vocalized that. I never said, hey, you know what, when I'm in a relationship, this is what I need to feel comfortable. You shouldn't really need something from someone else. That should be an indicator right there that you're not ready for a relationship. But when you are in a relationship, especially a sacred relationship that you want to stand the test of time, you need to make sure that you have expectations of that relationship. So, we tried a few times to date and it didn't happen. And it's interesting because, we did the whole thing where, I'm upset again, I'm hurt again, I don't want to talk to you. Don't ever call me again. So a few years had gone by, and I just felt like reaching out to that person. And I said, look, you know what? When we dated, I never communicated what I wanted in that relationship. I never had any expectations. I told you I was independent. I told you I was needy. I told you I was not like most women, and I'm not, clingy. I don't need to know what you're doing all of the time. But ultimately, deep down, I love communication. I like, for what I feel like are the basics for me might not be the basics for someone else. So whether it's an intimate relationship, a business relationship, whether it's a relationship with your family members, be sure to communicate things. So the guy, him and I were kind of laughing because it's like, you know what? Hey, you went on a trip for 4 days. I never heard from you. I didn't know if you still wanted to date me. I didn't know what was going on. And he's like, look, I was busy. And I was like, you know what? I just should have communicated. Hey, I'm a vocal person. I would love to say good morning and good night. I'd like to talk to you at least once a day. If we're in a relationship, yes, I claim that I am fiercely independent and I don't need it, but that really wasn't the truth. So what you put out is the type of people that you're going to attract. And I was not attracting the best circumstances for what my soul needed. I needed communication. And I was able to vocalize that, and it felt really good. It felt really refreshing. And I told that person, I was like, look, I never hated you. You were a huge catalyst for change for me. But in a relationship, I do like to communicate. I'm not this fiercely independent person that never needs to hear from you. That can go 4 or 5 days when you're on vacation and not want to hear about the exciting time that you're having. I know when I'm on vacation, I'm going to want to call you. So again, we just never talked about it. And of course, you don't want to scare somebody away. You just meet the person like, okay, I need to talk to you 3 times a day. But it's so important to say, I like to have a good morning message. I like to say good night, and if you could call me once a day, especially if it's long distance, especially if you guys are busy. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with on social media. You guys are single parents, or you're busy parents and you might travel for work, things like that. So if you don't let the person know what your needs are, then they're not going to be met. And my mom had a really great saying. She would always say, if you never ask, your answer is always going to be no. So, and also with work. I mean, even in the work field, I've worked for some huge worldwide companies, and it's crazy to think about how they don't have some of the basics of communication. I think someone's online that maybe I even worked with, which is funny, but he saw it as well in the company, I'm pretty sure. But so many large companies, they just don't communicate expectations. They don't say, I need this, I need that in order to feel happy about your employment. I need XYZ in order to know that you feel safe. And then what do you also need as an employee? It's so important to have these conversations, and it's not being needy. It's being clear about what you want as a family member, about what you want as a boyfriend or girlfriend, being clear about expectations about things. So when people meet in an intimate relationship, it's good to say, some people are looking for just fun. A lot of people that I try to surround myself with, they're looking for, a sacred relationship. They're looking for something deep, not something willy-nilly. So it's important to know that what that person is expecting. So I just encourage you guys to always voice what you're thinking, what you're feeling. I always ask my kids, whenever there's a confrontation in the house or whenever somebody is acting like they're not feeling heard, I always say, how do you feel and what do you want? Because a lot of times if your kid is freaking out about going to the beach, it's not that they're trying to be a disrespectful child. They might have disrespectful behavior, but you're not getting to the core issue. So if my kid's freaking out, I'll say, Logan, how are you feeling? Obviously, he's like, Mom, I'm pissed. But how are you feeling? I'm feeling sad. And he might even say, I'm feeling really tired. I love the beach. Normally I want to go, but I had camp all day. I was skimboarding all day and I'm already really tired, so I don't want to go to the beach again. So just communicate. Say, this is how I feel. I feel tired. I feel frustrated. I feel like I'm getting forced to go. And then ask them, what do you want? What I would like to do is maybe relax. And if you have another child and they want to do the opposite, come to a compromise. Say, you know what, Logan doesn't want to do this. Can we maybe watch a movie? And then if the sun's still up, then we'll go to the beach for a sunset. So again, just communicate expectations and boundaries. If you're in a relationship and you want to have someone that's a good communicator, that's something I crave. I like communication, and it doesn't mean that I'm needy. And women, it doesn't mean that you're needy. If you have unhealed trauma and you need to know what they're doing all of the time, then that's something that maybe you need to dig deeper to find out. If you feel insecure, if you can't hear from them, then that's something that you definitely need to dig deep and find out the core issue, because sometimes people don't love themselves enough and they need constant validation. But if you have a simple request, if you're in a relationship, if you're a busy parent or if you're a busy single parent and you say, I'd like to talk to you once a day, maybe as like a recap, and maybe if I can't talk to you that day, let me talk to you in the morning. And honestly, I have to say, I was working for one of the largest worldwide reserve study companies, insurance appraisal companies. I was the top producer. I was training my son for a world championship. He was on the USA team. And I made time for the people that I wanted to make time for. So when people say that they just don't have time, I call bullshit on that, because people make time for the things that they find value in. So with all that craziness, and even when I was a single mother and my kids were smaller, if I only had one opportunity to go meet with someone, I would find a way. If the kids were napping, I would find time to go grab a smoothie with that person or go have like some sort of valuable time or video chat with that person. But if somebody is just not responding or they're just not getting back to you, if it's been days, like that book goes, they're just not that into you. So again, I just wanted to stress the importance of boundaries and expectations and clear communication. Just talk to people in every relationship that you have. Certain things come up with family members. If you have a family member and there's a lot of tension, ask them what they need to feel safe. Ask them what they need in order to have a better time with you. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of times if you have a teenager, or some people are living with older parents, people are in different mixed housing situations, especially with how things are now. And if the person seems frustrated, ask them, what do you need? I need you to help me. I need maybe 20 minutes alone without the kids. Could you maybe take the dog for a walk with the kids? Can you maybe do the dishes every night if I cook dinner? People just need to let the other people know in their lives what they need. What do you need to feel safe? Do you feel overworked? Well, ask the other person, how do you feel? Guess what? I work outside all day. I'm really, really tired. If you need me to help, I would love to do things that are inside. Maybe you can save the weekend stuff for the things that need to be done that are outdoors. Everything is about communication, and honestly, women, I have been so guilty of this. Guys cannot read your mind. They just don't know what you're thinking. You can roll your eyes, you can do the silent treatment, just communicate, because all you're doing is keeping yourself at a low energy and a low vibration by hiding it, by not speaking your truth. And it's funny because I know quite a few people, and again, I was in this category. I never spoke my truth. My throat chakra, if you know anything about your bodily energy centers, I'm going to do a video about how the energy centers are affected by certain emotions and certain traumas, but I would never speak my truth. I had thyroid issues, I had throat issues, I was always coughing. So when you don't speak your truth, that's your throat area. So I challenge you guys to just start communicating with everybody in your life, whether it's your kids. If your kids are freaking out, say, how do you feel and what do you want? And you might get some really cool answers, things that you never would have thought. So I love you guys, and if you need any help with any of this, I am a life coach. As I mentioned, I have worked through and healed so many relationships in my own life, and again, the things that I talk about, I've only gotten a lot better at them because I've experienced the deficiencies in my life. I've experienced the lack of communication, and I've seen how things can literally take a totally different track once I started communicating what I wanted, how I felt, when I didn't claim to be this strong, independent person that doesn't need any form of communication, because I was attracting narcissistic, emotionally detached people. Not saying that that person is that way, but when you claim that you don't need things, that's exactly what you're going to attract. So speak your truth, even if it is a little bit crazy, just speak it and you will find the right match for the person that's meant to be in your life. And you'll find the perfect match for the business relationships. And family, you're stuck with them, but you can find a better way to live with them just by communicating what you need and what they need. If you're going nuts with the kids all day, ask to just have your husband take the dogs for a walk with the kids. Ask the husband to just do something with the kids to where you can have maybe 30 minutes to recalibrate. Or, honey, I need to take a bath right now. Anything you can do. And as a mom, you know the kids always come into the bathtub anyway, but just tell him, say, it's really important for me to have this time alone. And if he values you, he'll find a way to say, kids, if you need something, just come to me for the next 30 minutes because mommy needs to reset. She needs to recalibrate. And I taught my kids about energy. And when you teach the kids and anybody about energy, you have so many things that you're able to tell. It's like, you know what, I'm feeling off balance right now. I need to recalibrate. I need to get away. I need to be in nature. So things like that are so very important. If you guys would like any more advice, just let me know and I will leave my contact information below. And this is a Facebook Live, so my information's there. I love you guys.